I was able to smuggle that in. This is her today. This is her when I went back. I met with her and she's doing very well, but she still needs ongoing medical care. And that brings me to the medical evacuation point. It's very important. The speediness of it, the organization of it, and the inner workings and the pathways need to be more streamlined. That is also a very temporary solution to the ongoing deeper problem, the more insidious problem. And that's the complete devastation and damage to the infrastructure of Gaza. The roads are destroyed, the water system is destroyed and contaminated, the electricity grid is completely destroyed. So we do need to provide medical care to patients like Mira, but we also need to empower the people of Gaza to rebuild and recover their own state. And I think that's something that we can all kind of pull together and understand. That's what we need to do moving forward.
Hi, my name is Aisha Khan. I'm an emergency doctor at Stanford University Hospital.
These children would still die. And the reason is because they simply don't have the adequate nutrition to heal. This little girl had wounds on her feet that were shrapnel wounds that I thought were like a day old. These are actually months old. There's just no protein in the market for her to be able to heal her wounds. And she will get infected and her feet will have to get amputated. So many of the children that we saw there ended up with amputations with no prosthetics, no rehabilitation, no ground to even try to walk on. These are two such girls, sisters sharing a wheelchair. Their parents died in the same attack that they ended up being amputees in. And their only chance for survival is to be medically evacuated. Unfortunately, the current security restrictions don't allow for children to travel with more than one caregiver.
White coat was deadly. So why do we need medical evacuations? It's because not just the healthcare system was targeted, but the doctors, the nurses, the paramedics, the first responders, they were targeted, they were killed. I do want to mention Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, forcibly disappeared. This was the hospital that he built. Those were the departments that he helped develop, and he refused to leave. And his son was killed because of that. He buried his son Ibrahim in the courtyard of Kamal Adwan Hospital. And then he watched the military raid the hospital, destroy it. And he had to be injured in that process. And then he had to walk up to a tank in his white coat and shake the hand of the military that killed his son and injured him. If this situation is still held in place where we can't bring in the medical supplies that we talked about, the CT scans, the hospital beds, then more people will die unnecessarily. Just because there's no tanks rolling in or ground troops invading, this is just as deadly if we cannot get the supplies that we need in there. And so we are looking on this mission, on this delegation, in addition to us just being in DC, we're looking for an opportunity to make a difference, a sustainable difference, an impact. We want to go to a second phase of the ceasefire. We want Palestinian doctors to be released. And if we have to evacuate children out of the Gaza Strip, can we evacuate them to the West Bank or to East Jerusalem where they can still be treated by Palestinian doctors? And if they have to go somewhere else, can they come back? We all know about the anxiety Palestinians were having. If I cross out of Gaza, will I never see my homeland again? So these are the types of things that we are talking about. We want to amplify it, we want to make it real, but we also want a sustainable solution. We want hungry kids to be fed. We want hospitals to be able to operate without the fear of being attacked. And we want Palestinians to have a chance at life. Because the people we met, they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. Thank you.
250 people, half of them small children. There's only 4 ORs at European Hospital. How can I take 250 people to the OR every single day in a place with 4 operating rooms? It's impossible. So these dilemmas and the extreme need compared to the very minimal capacity that's left is why we're emphasizing medical evacuations. There's about 2,500 children who are at imminent risk of death in the next few weeks. And this is a perfectly common. There's perfectly standard example of what's going on. It's not extreme at all. The care he needs could be done in any third world healthcare system, but because Gaza has been so wrecked, it's not possible to do it there. And in addition to the facilities being smashed and then not restocked properly, the healthcare workers themselves have been taken en masse. 1 out of every 20 healthcare workers in Gaza is dead. That's what's known. It's very likely that it's actually significantly higher than that. My own rough estimate is that 1 out of 10 have fled Gaza for obvious reasons. And then another 600, which comes out to about 1 out of 30, are in Israeli prisons, including 250 physicians, most of the subspecialists that are left in Gaza, et cetera, et cetera. So not only have the facilities been destroyed, but the human capital, the human resources, and these were the people who were head departments. These were the oldest surgeons and doctors in Gaza, people with experience, people who knew how to run the system. They are again dead, fled, or in prison, in an Israeli prison. So the necessity of getting both the severely injured children out, so that they can have, and not just children, adults too, but the children are the focus usually, out so that they can be treated and don't die or become unbelievably crippled unnecessarily, and at the same time allowing physicians from outside of Gaza to go in